Hi everyone, this is Vivek, and in this particular video, I'm going to talk all there is about ICPSC. If you're someone who has always thought about doing competitive programming properly, have started it but have been fearful of not growing, have not seen growth beyond solving, let's say, diff 2A, B levels in the code forces, but want to grow, this summers we are bringing a camp that will help you get past all of these levels, right? Let's talk about it. So for those who know me from maybe my LinkedIn or my YouTube videos would know that I've done fair share of competitive programming. I've done a lot of like that in my college. I've been to this competition called ICPC at its world finals level. I have been to 7-star in code chef, but all of this came later, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about my initial days and talk about things that I did right, which you can copy and maybe grow faster. So a lot of people throw this advice that practice and that's how you improve. Well, that's correct, but there are certain other things that you can also optimize for, which is like timing. So you can see this graph initially of mine where I was pretty much at the same level for a long duration and maybe like 2-star and code chef. And that's when summers came in my college. And this is a phase which I find very, very beautiful because you don't have distractions of college. You don't have any FOMO from friends, what they are doing. Maybe you have a little bit if you talk to them. But then I was at my home sitting in this hot summers in ACs and rooms with just my laptop. And I thought, well, let's do some productive thing. And I sat down with competitive programming, started solving tons of problem, doing code chef longs. And eventually, this is the graph you see in one summer, right? This is September's and this is like May, right? So in May, June, July, August, I kind of grew to this level, which was significant growth, right? And this is what I feel a lot of beginners miss. Competitive programming doesn't happen in a day. It has to be a short spurt of grind that you have to put in a particular period, right? You have to have a zone where you will be focused on competitive programming and not have distractions. You have to solve problems, and solving problems take time, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, but you'll have to solve those problems, right? So it's best to use this summer in the best way possible so that you can actually grow to your most potential, right? Now, this is what we like, I feel is a key contributor to my success, and I thought should be like helpful to many more. So we decided to make sure that this summer you can also kind of get growth like this in competitive programming. And that's why we have brought this camp, which is Indian Competitive Programming Summer Camp, which is ICPSC, which all of you can participate in. And I think this is the best camp you can join for this summers, where you will see significant growth in your rating and have a clear roadmap and will be guided by top competitive programmers of the country, right? So, like, let's talk a little bit about this. So, it's by default me and Abhishek Saini who are going to teach in this particular camp. Um, like Abhishek, he is also a fairly like consistent competitive programmer. If you know him on LinkedIn, he has been creating a lot of content around lead code and uh, like techniques on YouTube too. I'll link him down below in the description. But then he has been doing a lot of like content creation on competitive programming, and I also have been doing a lot of that for some time. So we decided let's collaborate and try to build this camp all together, because teaching a big audience isn't that easy. So we thought we need more people. So we are going to be the instructors for this particular camp, and we're going to teach you everything you need. We're going to talk about what we're going to learn, but this is pretty much the idea. um, there are going to be more and more mentors who would be joining into, not just us. There will be top competitive programmers from the country who are from different types of colleges, right? And have their own journeys, who will come and share how did they kind of grow, what they have done right, what they have done wrong, and maybe teach you even some beautiful techniques that you can leverage and use in some competition, right? So this is the target for this particular camp, to bring all the people who you can get. Number one, inspiration. Number two, learnings. Number three, hacks. Number four, the pros and cons or the journey that they have gone through, all at one place, so that you can grow very, very fast. Now we all know that competitive programming has been helping students to crack online assessments and coding tests and interviews in a really beautiful way, and it's one of the targets. But for this camp, we are going to keep the target to boosting rating. We want to get higher ratings on sites like CodeChef and primarily Code Forces, right? Because that's the go-to place where everybody wants to aim higher rating. So I think all of you might know that Code Forces has these competitions called Div 3, Div 2. we want to be able to solve div 2 till div 2c consistently. So if you are someone who is stuck at div 2a, div 2b, div 2c, div 2c sometimes happens or sometimes doesn't, we want to be able to solve till div 2c consistently. That's the target of this camp, because we want to make sure that more people can cross this initial barrier in the summers, and then they can practice on their own after the summers, right? So this is what we will be doing. um, I am going to talk about the topic. So before we like move forward in this is a like distribution that is pulled out from code forces for like a lot of problems that kind of they have. So they have the rating in their problems, and they have the topics that these problems have. So this is a simple distribution of the topics of problems which are rated in 900 to 1400, which is generally required to solve to go till specialist in the rating range of code forces, right? So if you see the top topics that are coming over here, right, the topics that are generally required to go past these ranges is implementation, greedy, maths, brute force, constructive, and sorting. So searching and sorting, let's assume, right? So these are the topics that we will focus in the camp. We will make sure that we get really good at the topics that are listed over here. Okay. There are more and more topics that can possibly come, but then first step should be to get really good at this. I know a lot of students in India who struggle a lot with ad hoc, constructive, let's suppose proofing, like observation building, right? These kind of things. That's what we will focus on. And I'm pretty sure nobody has taught how to think about these topics. Everybody teaches you about dynamic programming, greedy, DP, everything like this, right? And these are topics that are well structured and already there's tons of material. But how to think about greedy, how to think about observation building, how to think about constructive problems is what we will learn in this camp, right? So it's pretty unique. Okay. And that's why we're gonna have like a structure so that we can start from the very basics to div 2c. So the first 2 3 weeks is gonna build you the primer that you need for the following weeks, right? So div 2a generally needs you just implementation skills and some basic maths. So we're gonna build the implementation skills in the first 3 weeks of the camp, and then the next 3 weeks is gonna be for div 2b, which is knowing STL, because a lot of stack queues implementation problems comes in div 2b, plus data structure related problems, basic data structure related STL related problems comes in div 2b, and you need maths to solve problems of A and B in general too. So we'll talk about maths in week 5, right? And then we will move towards searching and sorting, because that's one of the key topics that comes in div 2b and div 2c, right? So searching, sorting, acing constructive problems, and then we will start practicing on mixed sets, right? So we are going to talk about how to like solve really beautiful problems. We'll talk about techniques that comes in these topics, right? Prefix sums, things like this we'll also talk about. And beyond that, in week 9, 10, 11, 12, 9 and 10 we'll talk about pro techniques that we use as top competitive programmers to ace our ranks. How to, starting from typing faster to doing problems faster in a way that you can actually have no wrong answers in the actual competition. We'll talk about some techniques that we use, and we will talk about how to actually do debugging when you face wrong answers and stuff like that, plus tons and tons of practice, right? I mean, obviously there has to be a lot of practice that builds the acumen for solving questions, but we will make sure that we build everything that is needed to solve till div 2c. We are going to talk about constructives in week 7 itself, because I think that's one of the key topics that is not talked about enough, right? And then we'll keep learning greedy and ad hoc topics as we progress in the weeks. And then week 11, week 12 is extended weeks where there'll not be like dedicated sessions, but we'll have like videos and practice problems where you'll have to solve and learn from the questions, right? These are beautiful ideas that have came before, which we think will come again, right? So that's the structure for the camp. We have gone beyond everything and tried to add doubt support. So we feel for beginners, we can't really just throw in some classes and expect them to grow, because when you are starting, you have tons of doubts, and even simple mistakes in codes is something that you can get stuck on. Now, we wanted to make sure that nobody gets stuck on doubts that they have, so that they have a seamless growth that will fuel their future, right? So we wanted to make sure that every doubt is resolved in under 5 minutes, right? And that is something we want to keep as a target for this camp. So there will be tons of TAs and high rated TAs, and a doubt bot which we have integrated recently on the site, which will help you to solve your problems that you are solving in the course, right? So there will be a dedicated curriculum. It will help you solve all the doubts over there. Plus there will be mentors to help you with doubts outside, inside platform, anything, anywhere you're practicing till the level of div 2c, right? And maybe a div 2ds also is fairly possible. We can discuss those two, which are in the realm of the topics that we are discussing, right? uh, so this is there. As we talked about, the simple target for your summers is now done, right? You have to just complete 100% of the content, participate in contest of CF, right? That's something mandatory in this particular camp. If you're coming in, we want you to grow in rating, so how can you grow without not participating? So div 2, div 3s and educational contests on CF are mandatory if you are joining in this camp in the period of the camp. And then we will have post contest discussions and up solve the questions. So make sure that you join these discussions and solve the questions. So it's a proper grind in this 1 month, in this summers. And I just want all of you to participate in and grow very, very strongly with the doubt support, with all the sessions that are being structured. And we have made sure that you just need basic programming knowledge in any particular language, but preferably C++, because we would be discussing C++ in the camp. If you don't have C++ knowledge, you can learn it in the first 2 weeks if you have knowledge of some other programming language. Note, competitive programming is not about programming languages, okay? And we expect you to bring 2 hours of practice every week, every day, right? That's the expectation in summers. 10th maths knowledge, that's again something that is important, because I would expect you to know how to multiply, divide, and other things, because fractions and stuff like that. We will obviously build on top of it to learn other techniques like GCD, LCM, things that are required in competitive programming, right? And obviously, you need to have a will to grow. You need to have a growth mindset. If that is there, then this is the camp for you. We'll have structured classes, obviously, which will be there. We'll have contest discussions of till div 2 CD contest questions. We'll have a proper tracker for you to track your progress in the camp and build a leaderboard around it, right? So that we can compete also. There are tons of prizes too, which I'll announce in future videos. There are tons of mentors who will come in, who will like help you in growth, and that is also something I'll talk about in the next video. And then we wanted to keep dedicated doubt support, and that's why we had to price this camp a little bit. We have kept it fairly affordable for everyone at a rupees 999. It's like 1,000 rupees, right? And for 10 weeks of training, so that's like 100 rupees, or what, divide by 7, which is super low, 10-20 rupees, right, every day. So with that, you will get the doubt support so that you don't get stuck anywhere. This is super important, because I know many students get stuck at this. Now note that the original pricing might increase. Like, the original pricing is 2,000. This is only going to be available for the first 24 hours when we launch this camp. So the first launch will happen on 14th, and there is like fixed number of slots that are available in this camp, right? Because we have live sessions. Live sessions help us like have a focus group, but then again, it's limited to the Zoom calls, right? So we will have a limited number of students. So if you don't want to miss this offer, make sure that you fill in your email ID, and we will mail you about the camps like whenever the first 24-hour sale goes on, right? So this is going to be there, and a small certificate to just certify that you have completed this. And if you have query, feel free to ring up this number. Feel free to drop in the name, email ID, and phone number, and we'll get you call back if you have any queries, some basic FAQs, right? And that's pretty much it. So I hope you are excited to join the summer camp and get the rating boost that you have always dreamt about. We'll make sure that everything you need will be provided. Plus, we have created a WhatsApp group where you can join in and throw in any like everybody is open to discuss anything. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to discuss with other peers who are anyways going to join in this camp and are going to grow. So it's a like peer group where we all want to grow together, right? And the instructors and mentors are there to catalyst all your growth, right? So make sure that you put in the effort this summers. Please don't waste your summers. If not competitive programming, make sure that you use it on something productive. But this is the best investment that you can possibly make. Uh, and this is one last thing I want to talk about. Some people get stuck in their rating range. Earlier, CF ratings used to start from like this 1500, and then this is my graph. I started and I just kept dropping down, right, till this particular range. And people feel very stuck when they are newbie. But then if you can't be over here, you can never see the graph of growth like this, right? So make sure that you put in the effort even if you're a newbie, so that you can reach to the level that you dream of, right? With that, I'll take this video to the end. I hope like you enjoyed this particular camp, and we will add all the links in the description. I'll make sure to like keep updating the comment section too, so make sure that you ask any question that is there. Better you join the WhatsApp group and ask there, because there are many more people who are joining in and also will help you with every query that you have. So that's all for this particular video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.